I'm Lisa, 26F, and my husband is Kenneth, 41M. We've been married for 3 years now. I met Kenneth when I was working at a coffee shop near his office building. He came in every morning, always ordered the same thing, and always left a decent tip. He started small talk, asked me out after a few weeks, and things moved fast from there. Within 6 months we were living together, married within 2 years. At the time it seemed like everything I needed. I grew up in foster care after my parents died in a car accident when I was 12. Bounced between different homes until I aged out at 18. Never had anyone to fall back on or ask for help. Kenneth seemed stable and successful. He owned his own accounting firm, had a nice house, drove a reliable car. He talked about building a future together. Before we got married, Kenneth sat me down for what he called a financial planning discussion. He had spreadsheets printed out and everything. He explained that he believed in personal responsibility when it came to money. He had worked hard to build his business from nothing and didn't want to enable dependency in anyone, including his wife. His system was this: he would pay 70% of the mortgage and utilities since he made more money. I would pay 30% plus half of all other household expenses like groceries, cleaning supplies, and anything we both used. All personal expenses were completely separate. This included my car payment, insurance, clothes, medical bills, entertainment, meals with friends, everything. He had me download an app where I had to photograph every receipt for shared purchases. He would review them each Sunday, highlight what counted as shared versus personal, then transfer me exactly half of the shared total. If I bought shampoo and dish soap in the same trip, the dish soap was shared but the shampoo was personal since only I used it. I agreed because I didn't have experience with how married couples handled money. My foster families never talked about it. I made about $30,000 a year at the coffee shop while he made close to 6 figures. The arrangement meant I could afford my share, barely, if I was careful. To balance things out, I took care of most of the house stuff. I did the grocery shopping, cooking, cleaning, laundry, and kept track of what we needed. Kenneth said this was fair since he worked longer hours and brought in more income. Last year Kenneth started talking about having a baby. He said it was time to start our family and that we weren't getting younger. I wasn't sure I was ready, but he kept bringing it up. He talked about how great it would be to have a little person to teach things to and how proud his parents would be to have grandchildren. When I expressed concerns about the cost, he assured me he would cover his share of all baby expenses. He said we would split everything 50-50 just like we did with household costs. Since a baby was something we both wanted, it made sense we would both contribute equally. I got pregnant after about 4 months of trying. The first few weeks were exciting. Kenneth seemed genuinely happy and started talking about converting the spare room into a nursery. He researched cribs and car seats and made lists of everything we would need. The first issue came up at my 8-week appointment. The copay was $45. When I got home and showed Kenneth the receipt, he asked why I was showing it to him. I explained it was for the baby appointment so we should split it. He shook his head and said the appointment was for my health, not the baby's health. The baby wasn't being examined or treated. It was my body being checked, so it was my expense. I tried to explain that the appointment was only necessary because of the pregnancy, but he said that didn't change the fact that I was the patient, not the baby. He told me to be more careful about categorizing expenses correctly. The next month I needed prenatal vitamins. The doctor said they were important for preventing birth defects. When I brought this up to Kenneth, he said vitamins were for my nutritional needs. The baby got nutrients from my body, so anything I consumed was technically for me. He said if I wanted to take vitamins that was my choice, but it wasn't a baby expense. By month 4 I couldn't fit into any of my work clothes. I needed new pants, a few shirts that would work in a professional setting, and new bras since nothing fit anymore. The cheapest maternity clothes I could find still cost about $300 for a basic wardrobe. I approached Kenneth with the receipts and explained that I only needed these clothes because of the pregnancy. He looked through each item and said the same thing he'd said about the vitamins. The baby wasn't wearing the clothes. I was wearing them. They were my clothing, which had always been my personal expense. The fact that my body had changed didn't change whose expense it was. I started eating smaller portions to save money on my personal grocery budget. I stopped going out with the few work friends I had. I canceled my gym membership and found free ways to exercise. Even with cutting everything I could, I was barely covering my share of expenses plus the pregnancy costs that kept piling up.